There is a specific kind of pain that has no name in most languages. It is not grief. Grief comes from losing someone to death, something beyond human control. It is not heartbreak. Heartbreak fades. It softens over time. What Daniel experienced had no softness in it. It was the slow, clinical realization that the person he had chosen, the person he had built his entire adult life around, had been watching him with different eyes the whole time. This is not a story about love. This is a story about the cost of misplaced trust. Daniel was 31 years old when he met Claire. He was not a man who fell easily. His friends described him as careful, measured, the kind of person who read the terms before signing, the kind of person who asked questions most people forgot to ask. But Claire was different, or so he believed. She was methodical, like him, ambitious, like him. She spoke about the future with a precision that felt rare. 5-year plans, contingency thinking, calculated risk. In the first year of their relationship, Daniel told his brother he had finally found someone who operated on the same frequency. They moved in together after 14 months. They got engaged after 3 years. They bought a house after 4. From the outside, it looked like 2 people building something solid. And Daniel believed that was exactly what it was. He worked in logistics management, long hours, stable income, predictable promotions. Claire worked in financial consulting. Her income was irregular, some months strong, some months thin. Daniel never questioned this. He covered the mortgage during her slow months. He paid for their vacations. He co-signed her car loan when the bank hesitated. He did these things not out of obligation. He did them because he believed in the construct they were building together. He did not know at that point that he was the only one building it. The first sign was not dramatic. It rarely is. Daniel noticed it on a Tuesday evening in October. Claire came home 40 minutes later than usual. She had a reasonable explanation. A client dinner that ran long. He accepted it without analysis. The second sign came 3 weeks later. A phone flipped face down on the kitchen counter when he walked in. A gesture so small it would dissolve in the memory of most people. Daniel noticed. He said nothing. By December, he had collected 11 such observations. Not accusations, observations. The kind a careful man makes when something stops adding up, but he cannot yet identify the variable responsible. He did not confront her. He did not search her phone. He did not involve anyone else. Instead, he did something that would later define the outcome of everything that followed. He waited. And while he waited, he documented. Not out of paranoia, out of precision. In a notes application on his phone, he recorded dates, times, inconsistencies, the Tuesday dinners that became Wednesday dinners, the business trip to Edinburgh that produced no client invoices, the way her posture changed when a specific contact called, a contact listed only as M. By February, he had built a picture that required no further evidence. Claire was involved with someone else. Had been by his estimate for approximately 7 months. But Daniel did not move immediately, because what he had discovered was not just infidelity. Buried inside the financial records he had quietly begun reviewing, records he had access to as her emergency contact, was something that reframed everything. Over the previous 2 years, Claire had transferred a total of $63,000 from their joint savings account into a personal account he had not known existed. $63,000, taken in increments small enough to avoid triggering alerts, moved with a patience and discipline that could only be described as deliberate. Daniel sat with that number for 4 days. He did not cry. He did not break anything. He did not call anyone. He simply recalibrated. What Daniel did next is the part of this story most people find difficult to understand. He did nothing visible for 60 days. He continued going to work. He continued coming home. He continued having dinner with Claire on weeknights and watching television on weekends. He responded to her messages. He attended her colleague's birthday dinner. He behaved in every observable way, like a man with no knowledge of what he knew. During those 60 days, he was not passive. He met with a family law attorney in a city 2 hours away, a city where he knew no one and no one knew him. He opened a new personal account at a different bank. He began quietly documenting every shared asset: the house valuation, the vehicle registrations, the investment accounts, the pension contributions. He also hired a forensic accountant, not to build an emotional case, to build a financial one. By week 7, the forensic accountant had identified not $63,000 in transfers, but closer to $91,000, including funds moved before the joint account was even opened, extracted from a shared credit line Daniel had believed was unused. On a Thursday morning in April, Daniel sent 2 emails before leaving for work. The first was to his attorney, confirming that he was ready to proceed. The second was to Claire's employer, a financial consulting firm with a compliance department, containing a detailed summary of transactions he believed warranted review under the firm's internal fraud policy. He did not send the second email out of anger. He sent it because the transfers constituted a legal matter that extended beyond their relationship, and because he understood that protecting himself meant establishing a clear, documented record of what had occurred. He came home that evening at the usual time. He made dinner. He said very little. Claire received a call from her employer at 7:43 p.m. The divorce proceedings lasted 8 months. Claire's attorney argued that the financial transfers were informal loans within a long-term partnership. Daniel's forensic documentation made that argument difficult to sustain. The court awarded Daniel recovery of $74,000, the provable portion of the transfers, after legal costs. The compliance investigation at Claire's firm reached its own conclusions. Daniel was not involved in that process after his initial submission. He did not follow its progress. He did not need to. He sold the house 14 months after the divorce was finalized. He relocated to a smaller city, closer to his brother. He took a position with a different company, a lateral move in title, but cleaner in every way that mattered to him. When his brother asked him later how he had managed to remain so composed through all of it, Daniel thought about the question for a long time before answering. He said, "I realized early that my reaction was the only variable I controlled. Everything else, what she did, what she chose, what she was, that was already fixed. I couldn't change it. So I stopped trying to process it emotionally and started treating it like a problem with a solution." His brother asked if he was okay. Daniel said he was not sure that was the right question. The right question, he said, was whether he had handled it correctly. And to that, he had a clear answer. There is a version of this story where Daniel breaks, where the discovery unravels him, where the anger becomes the loudest thing in the room, where he makes decisions that cost him more than she ever took. That version exists for many people. What separated Daniel was not strength in the conventional sense. It was the ability to treat a deeply personal wound as a logistical problem, to remove himself from the center of the story long enough to see it clearly. Most people, when they are betrayed, ask, "Why did this happen to me?" Daniel asked a different question. He asked,